Hello again and welcome back to Stu's Music Quiz. This week we are carrying on with the 2010s, more 2010s. Again, as we said before, we're connected to Richard Shaw's Choose Your Favourite Albums of a particular year, or in this case, decade. And we're on the second week of choosing our favourite 7 from 2010. So get your pencil and paper ready. We have 50 questions coming up. I'm going to spend a little bit less time between them this time due to some feedback from people. You can, of course, pause the video, I suppose, if you want to spend more time on them. And off we go. Okay, let's start with a trivia question. What was the biggest selling song of the decade? We did albums last week. What was the biggest selling song of the decade? Was it Happy by Pharrell Williams, One Dance by Drake? Was it Shape of You by Ed Sheeran? Or was it Uptown Funk by Mark Ronson and Bruno Mars? Now that's the biggest selling song by the definition of what the chart people call selling, not just downloads, and not just most streamed. And then a second trivia question. And last time we dealt with the biggest selling albums of the decade. What was the biggest selling album of the decade whose title was not a number or a symbol? And that actually puts it in 5th place in the decade. The top 4 were either a number or a symbol. Was it A, In the Lonely Hour by Sam Smith, B, Progress by Take That, C, Our Version of Events, Emily Sandé, D, Christmas, Michael Bublé. I should make the point this is in the UK, of course. The biggest selling album of the decade in the UK, whose title was not a number or a symbol. Okay, number 3, another trivia question. Which 90s hip-hop group did Elvis Costello team up with for his 2013 album, Wise Up Ghost? Was it A, the Loop Pack, B, the Roots, C, Cypress Hill, or D, Ghetto Mafia? Which 90s hip-hop group did Elvis Costello team up with for his 2013 album, Wise Up Ghost? Number 4, which band reformed in 2011, releasing their first single in 20 years, entitled All for One, in 2016? So they reformed in 2011, and then in 2016, they released their first single in 20 years, entitled All for One. My clue to you is it was awful. Okay, number 5, trivia. Which singer announced only her second ever tour in 2014, her first having been in 1979? Her second ever tour in 2014, her first having been back in 1979. Okay, on to our kind of dingbats name that album. So here's 4 albums for you this week. As you can see, each of them with 3 or 2 pictures. Have a look at them, work out from those pictures, what album have I chosen? So, of course, if you're not clear what I mean by that, look at the first picture on the left, work out what you think that might represent. Then look at the next, think what you might represent, and then the next, and then put them together to make an album. If you're not sure, then maybe think differently about what the picture is and what you might see in the picture. Okay, well, if you need more time on that, I'll let you pause and spend a bit more time thinking about that. I'm going to move on now to number 10, which is a connections question. Sorry, yes, it's a connections question. For a minute, I got confused with my own quiz. Okay, here are 4 albums from the 2010s. I want you to find the connection between them, please. This is Grinderman 2. At the top there, Tomorrow's Modern Boxes. At the bottom, Blunderbuss. And on the right, Everyday Robots. So Grinderman 2, Tomorrow's Modern Boxes, Blunderbuss and Everyday Robots. What is the connection between those 4 albums? Okay. So next 5 are lyrics, or next 4, sorry, are lyrics questions. It's a hip hop special this time, but don't worry, I'm going to give you a little bit of help with this. So, first of all, we've got number 11. I can't tell you what it really is. I can only tell you what it feels like. And right now, there's a steel knife in my windpipe. Second one, girl, you got me down, you got me stressed out. Because ever since I left the city, you started wearing less and going out more. Glasses of champagne out on the dance floor. Girl, you got me down, you got me stressed out. Because ever since I left the city, you started wearing less and going out more. Glasses of champagne out on the dance floor. Number 13. Awesome. The Christian in Christian Dior. Damn, they don't make them like this anymore. I ask, because I'm not sure. Do anybody make real anymore? Awesome. The Christian in Christian Dior. Damn, they don't make them like this anymore. I ask, because I'm not sure. Do anybody make real anymore? Number 14. Man, I'm like a young gun, fully black barrack. I cried teardrops over the massive attack. I only make hits like I work with a racket and bat. Look at my jacket and hat. Are you getting the feeling these lyrics don't work quite as well when I say them? Well, man, I'm like a young gun, fully black barrack. I cried teardrops over the massive attack. I only make hits like I work with a racket and bat. Look at my jacket and hat. And the final set of lyrics. Now I real talk. Look at what God did. On the main stage, running around topless. I phone Flips. Then I tell him, well, we got this. This is God's plan. They can never stop this. Now I real talk. Look at what God did. On the main stage, running around topless. I phone Flips. Then I tell him that we got this. This is God's plan. They can never stop this. Now, I told you I'm not going to make it that difficult and ask you to tell me the name of that song. Literally, all I want is the name of the rapper, the artist. And I'm going to make it even easier for you. I'm going to give you the 5 artists. You've just got to match them up. So, which one of those lyrics is Stormzy? Which one of those is Kanye West? Which is Tiny Temper? Which is Eminem? And which is Drake? Okay, so the next 3 questions. Last time I went to a comebacks round. The idea a lot of people made their comebacks in the 2010s. What I've done here is given you 3 more comeback albums. Again, I'm going to give you the name of the album and the year. You just got to tell me whose comeback album it was. Remember, I define comeback album as their first album in at least a decade. Okay, the first studio album at least a decade. So 16, The Magic Whip, 2015. Whose comeback album was that? 17, MBV in 2013. And 18, Bloodsports also from 2013. So who were these the comeback albums for? Okay, to end the first half of the quiz, onto the picture round. Here are 7 pictures for you. All you got to do is name those people. And in 22, it is the collection of people together. So name those people who all had a huge influence in the 2010s. And that will bring us to an end of the first round. I'll leave that up there for you for a little bit, maybe get a bit of a refresher on your beer, your lemonade, whatever you're drinking. See how many of those you can get. We'll start again in just a couple of minutes with the second half. Okay, so welcome back to the second half of Stu's Music Quiz. A reminder at this point, of course, we're doing this for charity. I have a Just Giving page, donating money to Young Minds, the charity that provides support for young people with mental health issues. And obviously there's some major problems with that around the country at the moment. Please, 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 if you're enjoying this at all, I said last time, imagine you entered this quiz at a pub, it had a £1 or £2 entrance fee. Just give me a couple of quid, please, and it will soon build up. We did very well last week. Hopefully we can continue to build up, and my initial target is to raise £1,000 over the time doing this. It'd be great if we got even further than that. So please, please, please do take that address down the bottom there. The hopefully that the little barcode will scan as well, the little code in the corner, and take you to the page. But otherwise, justgiving.com/fundraising/Stu Music Quiz. Okay, now, those of you who didn't make it as far as the second half last time, this section does include the wonder of my attempt at electric piano playing, but we'll get to that in a minute. First of all, a round of album covers. So here's the album cover. I've removed or blocked out anything that gives a hint to the name of the album or the artist, and that's all I need from you. What is the name of the album and the artist? A few people asked me about this last time. You can give yourself a half mark if you get the artist but not the name of the album, or if you get the album and not the name of the artist. So, number 26, album and artist. Okay, here's number 27. Same thing, 2010s album? Name of the album? Name of the artist? Now, of course, remember, part of this is also to introduce you to these albums if you don't know them and give you some hints on the kind of things you might listen to. 28, an album a lot of people will know, but will they know the cover in this digital download age? Name of this album, please. Name of the artist. Number 29. I hope everyone gets this one. Name of the artist, name of the album. And then, please, everybody, go and listen to it immediately afterwards. And last album cover, number 30. Again, I've removed any incriminating evidence. What is the name of the artist? Name of the album. Could have turned up in the Comebacks album, this one as well. The Comebacks round. Okay. So here's the bit where you hear me move across the room. As we go on to the Name That Tune round, in which I make my way to the electric piano and pray that I don't mess it up. I have 5 tunes for you here that I'm going to attempt to play on the electric piano, and all you've got to do is name that tune. So, number 31. Let's see if I can get it. Okay, so on to number 32. Just name that badly played tune. There we go. That's number 32 done. Okay, on to number 33. Name that badly played tune. Number 34. Name that badly played tune. And number 35, name this badly played tune. Okay, so there we go. 5 beautifully played tunes. For you to attempt to name. Okay. Right, back to my normal chair now. Let's carry on from there. So we have another connections round here. Number 36. Okay, got 4 2010s albums here for you. What is the connection between them? We have Psychodrama by Dave. We have The Birds of Tokyo by The Birds of Tokyo. We have Paul Simon's Stranger to Stranger. And we have Fiona Apple's The Idler Wheel. Or, get ready for this. The idler wheel is wiser than the driver of the screw, and whipping cords will serve you more than ropes will ever do. So, let's try that again. Fantastic albums, by the way. Especially the first one, Psychodrama by Dave. Absolutely terrific album, that. Well worth your time. Psychodrama. Birds of Tokyo by Birds of Tokyo. Paul Simon's terrific recent album, Stranger to Stranger. And Fiona Apple's album, The Idler Wheel is wiser than the driver of the screw, and whipping cords will serve you more than ropes will ever do. Now, the best clue I can give you there is think less about the albums, more about the names of the albums. Okay, there we go. Right, so moving into Name That Album. Okay, now we had this previously. I'm going to take a couple of albums here, and I'm going to give you some clues to them. You've just got to tell me what album I am referring to. So here we go. It was released in 2010 as this artist's 7th album. It was the first album ever to sell 1 million digital downloads. It was originally entitled Relapse 2, and it contains a hit single collaboration with Rihanna. So, name that album. It was released in 2010 as this artist's 7th album. It was the first album ever to sell 1 million digital downloads. It was originally entitled Relapse 2, and it contains a hit single collaboration with Rihanna. Okay. Well, If you didn't do all right with that one, hopefully this one will work a bit better for you. Number 38, name that album from these clues. Okay, this is this artist's first new studio album for 6 years. It consists of 7 songs, which are, to quote, set against the background of falling snow. Its first single is the story of a group of people who discover the Yeti, then cover up its existence. This artist's first new studio album for 6 years. It consists of 7 songs set against the background of falling snow. And its first single is the story of a group of people who discover the Yeti, then cover up its existence. Okay, now we didn't do this round before last week, but we've got a few here for you. That was Name That Album. This is Name That Year. What year in the 2010s, so between 2010 and 2019, am I giving you events from here? First of all, a former X Factor contestant, Lucy Jones, represents the UK in the Eurovision Song Contest, but finishes 15th. Which I think probably not a bad thing for a bad score for the UK these days. Portugal won that year. You might remember that lovely song, actually, the Portugal song. The former X Factor contestant, Lucy Jones, Welsh girl, you might remember. Back in the days when I did actually watch X Factor, I remember it being a very big shock when she was knocked out. Represents the UK in the Eurovision Song Contest, finishing 15th. Portugal win. The One Love Manchester benefit concert includes Ariana Grande, Coldplay and Liam Gallagher, amongst many others. You may remember watching that on television. The One Love Manchester benefit concert was also this year. Bananarama, Steps and Jethro Tull reformed. Not together. I think I'd have probably bought the album if they had reformed together. But there you are, Bananarama, Steps and Jethro Tull all reformed. Very sadly, Chris Cornell of Soundgarden killed himself at the age of 52. Songs from this year, this might help you. Shape of You by Ed Sheeran. Feel It Still by Portugal the Man. That was a great song, wasn't it? And New Rules by Dua Lipa. And albums of this year. Damn by Kendrick Lamar. American Dream from LCD Sound System. Flower Boy from Tyler the Creator. And Semper Femina from Laura Marling, or Semper Femina, depending how you pronounce it. So there we go. Some songs, some albums, some incidents. All you've got to do is name that year. Okay, how'd you get on with that one? Well, let's try another one. Different year this time. And what year is it? Well, let's start with the Eurovision Song Contest again. This time it was Bonnie Tyler representing the UK. I'm sure you remember that. Finishing 19th. And Denmark won this time. Okay. David Bowie released his first album in 10 years. And Paul McCartney released his first in 7 years. Good year for the old guard, apart from this, I suppose. Lou Reed dies. Songs from this year. Skyfall by Adele. Get Lucky by Daft Punk. Blurred Lines by Robin Thicke, featuring Pharrell Williams. And the brilliant What Does the Fox Say by Elvis. And albums. Reflector by Arcade Fire. Like Clockwork from Queens of the Stone Age. AM from Arctic Monkeys, superb album that. And Push the Sky Away from Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. Which year is that describing? And the final year round, which year in the 2010s is this? Engelbert Humperdinck represented the UK in the Eurovision Song Contest, finishing 25th out of 26. All that stuff about him being popular in Europe and therefore, yeah, you might well remember it. And they were wrong. And Sweden won, but then don't they seem to almost every year? The Diamond Jubilee concert, organised by Gary Barlow, was held outside Buckingham Palace. I will remember that one. My memory of that was that the Queen seemed to turn up for Tom Jones and then leave. Anyway. This is a cryptic one, but I'm not going to give you any more. George Michael said, "And now I'd like to perform my new song." Either that will make no sense to you whatsoever, or he'll give it away totally. Songs from this year: Call Me Maybe, Carly Rae Jepsen. Next to Me, Emily Sandé. And Hall of Fame by The Script. The Emily Sandé reference might work as well if you remember something. Okay, albums for that year: Channel Orange from Frank Ocean, Lonerism from Tame Impala, An Awesome Wave from Alt J, and Tempest, another album from Bob Dylan. What year are we referring to here? Okay, we're getting towards the end now. Another new round here. This one is Name the Artist. I'm just going to give you a kind of cryptic clue to an artist who had a big impact on the 2010s. You've just got to spot the artist. So, 42, She Was Born This Way. Probably works as an example, that one. 43, You Should See Her in a Crown. If you have no idea what that's about, call in your teenage daughter if you've got one and ask her. 44, They Had Night Thoughts in the Blue Hour. 45, Man Alive, Their Fever Dream Helped Them Get to Heaven. And 46, Let's Rock, The El Camino Brothers Turn Blue. Okay, a bit like very poor crossword quiz clues, aren't they, really? But there we go. 5 very different artists who all had an impact on the 2010s, or certainly released a lot of music in the 2010s. You just got to name that artist. Okay, we're nearing the end now. We've got 3 more trivia questions now for you. See how we get on with this. Number 47. In the 2010s, which of these was the first ever Bond theme to reach #1 in the charts? Was it A, Skyfall by Adele, or B, Writings on the Wall by Sam Smith? There were 2 Bond films, only 2 in the entire decade, actually. The most recent one was due to come out this year, wasn't it? And actually the Bond theme from that one also reached #1 in the charts, but it was January, I believe, of 2020, so I couldn't use that. But one of those became the first ever Bond theme from all 20 plus of them to reach #1 in the charts. Which one was it? Skyfall by Adele or Writings on the Wall by Sam Smith? Okay, number 48. Which former member of the Beautiful South rejoined Paul Heaton for 3 albums in the 2010s? And 3 very good albums they were too. Which former member of the Beautiful South rejoined Paul Heaton for 3 albums in the 2010s? And 49. Who released the album Bish Bosh in 2012, the final album in a trilogy that began in 1995, a trilogy that took 17 years. The album Bish Bosh, the final album in a trilogy that began in 1995. Okay, and that brings us to our final question of today, an odd one out question. Which of these was not a successful DJ in the 2010s? Marshmello, The Chainsmokers, Baby Jake, or Major Lazer? Marshmello, The Chainsmokers, Baby Jake, or Major Lazer? which of those was not a successful DJ in the 2010s? It was very much a time of DJs, wasn't it? The 2010s. Right. Thank you very much again for coming along. The answers will be posted later on today. Or if you're not looking at this when I first bring it out, they're already up. Please remember to donate to my Just Giving page if you've enjoyed it at all. It doesn't matter how small, please, please, please. If everybody who had a go at this last week had donated £1, we'd have over £100 already in there. £2, we'd have 200. Imagine that every week. Okay, so please remember to do that. You can follow me on Twitter at Stuart Hoskin. Hear more about this and also more discussion of music and all kinds of things. And please, feedback is welcome, either to me on Twitter there or even DM me on Twitter and let me know what you think. It's always good to know how this is going down. Thank you very much for taking part. There'll be another quiz up next Sunday. See how you do. Maybe on Twitter, let me know how you do. Last week, it seemed like 29 out of 50 was the highest mark from people who let me know, although there was another 28.5 out of 50. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, hopefully see you again next week.